What's going on, guys? This is our first episode of the LightBearerPod. We'll be talking all things Destiny 2 related. If you watched our trailer, I've already talked about how we'll be going through weekly GMs, nightfalls, strikes, all that kind of good stuff. This is our first episode, so I'm the host, Quepto, and with my co-host, Striders. Say what's up.
Yo, yo, yo. Hello, everyone.
He's here. He's here with me now. We'll be going through all things Destiny related. Obviously, today being the 22nd, we just had the major season reveal for the final shape. Pretty much a win, in my opinion. What do you think, Striders?
Big W. Big W. I loved it.
That's what we like to hear. Before we get into that good stuff, I think it's important that we kind of go through what's going on weekly in Destiny right now, as promised. So just a quick weekly refresh. We've got the weekly raid, which is the Last Wish raid. We've got the weekly dungeon, which is Duality. Lost Sector right now is Sepulture. So that just refreshed at 5 p.m. BST time. That is actually a good Lost Sector, guys, because you can, farm for the enhancement cores. You can breeze through it about 2-3 minutes. Obviously, you got Goes to the Deep, which is still the dungeon as well, if you want to do that. You got the Deep Dives arena. Word of advice for the Deep Dive arena, if you do want to go for tier 7, make sure you do have a build that can clear ads. Damage isn't something that's really important for that, so you want to go for something that kills ads, and kind of just go for it as well. For the fishing is the same old usual. You just go for the EDZ. You can go there, you can go Sabathun's Throne World. You've got the Nessus place, and that pretty much covers for the week. But yeah, we'll just do a quick season wrap up. What do you think of the season that we had so far, Striders?
For me personally, it's one of the seasons I've banged out the most. I've been playing it a lot. This season and last season, yeah, definitely. Came back into Destiny, basically.
Yeah, I think the whole theme of it being underwater, Tyne coming back, seeing Asa. I think you you reached like 150 or 160 on the level, maybe season pass.
Oh, nah. Yeah, I beat it. I definitely beat it. And that's with a holiday, yeah? 2
Well,
holidays.
with the holidays off, there you go.
Yeah, 2.
I think you kind of focused more on the PvP side, whereas I did the PvE side. So you were kind of collecting guns like iterative loop and whatnot.
Yeah. So I was really crafting weapons this season and last year, crafting guns. I didn't do the story much. There's extra story missions that you did.
Yeah.
I focused more on like the dungeons, the raid and stuff. I was just banging them out.
Oh, I see. So you mean like the seasonal, the quest line and stuff.
Yeah. I did not touch that.
I don't blame you. I think the seasonal story was quite important because they're kind of going through the storyline of how Sabathun comes back, the whole Witch Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen some clips on Twitter. Obviously, people hyping it up and talking about Sabathun, and then talking about the Witness, for example, and where he's originally come from and stuff like that. So I've seen those kind of stuff, the most important stuff you can say, but I haven't really focused much on it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think for the season I think the beginning was quite good because there was a lot of filler in a sense where it was 7 weeks long, and near towards the end, that's when we kind of saw the Witness origin story, and I think that's what kind of shocked the whole Destiny community because it was on such a random week, and then we got to saw how the Witness kind of originated from the Hive. Is a whole community that was put together, but I think it was important really for that whole season.
Oh yeah, it was definitely important. I just didn't really focus on it. Like I said, it's the holidays. The holidays stopped me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Cool. So we'll kind of wrap on to the next season to reveal. So we've got the final shape that was released today. I think it was about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 45.
So.
And it was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I think Destiny right now, especially being in a tough state because the last 2-3 months has probably been hell from a Bungie's perspective. You got a lot of hate going on. And
the community.
Yeah, I mean, what
the community has just been ripping into them.
What's your thoughts on the community? Do you think it's justified or?
I don't think it's justified. I think it is just over the top. Firstly, when they first started, it was just they were making valid points. For example, listen, we're not getting PvP content. we're getting bored of PvP and Gambit, especially. A lot of Gambit fans, not me, but yeah, that was valid. But then when they started going on about like how the story's been dry, how I don't know, it's like money got involved a lot,
Yeah.
and it was not the point. You're obviously going to spend a lot of money on DLCs to create it. We're going to spend a lot of money buying it. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this season I was happy. I was happy with everything. Targeted redaction, stuff like that.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, it's copied, it's lazy. I enjoyed it. Oh, I loved it.
Wow, that's refreshing to hear because on my Twitter, I'm pretty sure on your Twitter as well, there's just so much hate, and
Yeah,
it was justified to a point because I understand from the PvP perspective, there hasn't been any maps coming out, so from a PvP standpoint, I do understand because there are players who don't even touch the PvE side of the game, and they'll just play PvP. Wake up, play Crucible, repeat, and if I was a PvP fan, I'd feel the same because you'd be playing the same maps. The only thing you look forward to is pretty much trials. You play compet, and that side of Destiny for me, if there's no content, of course it's gonna be boring. But as you said, people being over the top. We had some of the fans going to developers' house, attacking them. That was just crazy in my opinion.
yeah. I didn't want to see any of that because it's just annoying. It's disrespectful. It's just not motivational as well for the people that are actually creating the game as well.
Yeah,
Like, if you think about it from their perspective, they're trying hard. Well, to them, they might be trying hard, and then your house is just getting destroyed. Threats. It's not worth it.
yeah. I think one of the good positives about this season as well, because prior to the other seasons, let's say about a year ago, 2 years ago, builds wasn't a huge thing. To be honest with you, it was just put on Starfire Protocol, do your nades, and them nerfing that, I think it's made a lot of people kind of switch up their builds. I know you were using Aegis Scepter and Stasis quite a lot. Was that something you kind of enjoyed this season?
Yeah. Aegis Scepter, most underrated gun in the game, in my opinion. Amazing. I used it a lot for not this season. Actually, it was towards the beginning of last season and the beginning of this season. I just used it so much. But then I realized that my stasis wasn't even that good on my hunter because I had no fragments, no aspects, no nothing.
Yeah.
So I was just using the gun for the gun, if you know what I mean.
No, yeah.
I wasn't getting the full package, and then when I realized that you can, I stopped using it, and then now I'm back onto it. But yeah, builds, like you've been saying, it's one of the things that keeps me going in the game. That and creating guns. It's like it's every week you're trying something new for trials, because that's the end objective, to go flawless and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much
I
fun.
mean, yeah, I can vouch for you as well. I mean, when we've been playing for you, I've seen you've gone through Stasis. You're using Strand at one point as well. Using the Navigator. You're like, I'm giving everyone woven mail. Everyone, come together.
Stand still, woman now.
Yeah, but no, I think from this season's perspective, just an overall, I think it's a hit and miss for people. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, and talking about the whole stasis thing, I think what's good about Bungie is that not a lot of people grinded for the stasis because it was quite long. But what they're doing now is that they're changing it so to a point where you can just visit, I believe it's Europa, and just pick it up like a normal fragment in the tower.
Yeah, I've heard about that. And even, for example, Strand was a bit easier. Like, every week you're getting 200 meditations from here, 200 from there. And there was just other stuff. Like, if you're using Strand, you're naturally getting them as well. When you're getting kills, you're naturally getting it. And yeah, just completing bounties and stuff. It was a bit easier than Stasis. Stasis was just, it's so long.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the season that we've had. That's just gone. We both watched the reveal, like literally like half an hour ago, recording live.
Yeah,
Uh,
very recent.
very
Yeah.
recent. I mean,
Trying to hold it in.
yeah, 100%. I think what's good about the reveal was that, especially Bungie having a lot of heat, online, Twitter. You even had some of the content creators kind of turn on the game, and
Yeah, no names.
yeah, no names, no names.
Don't want enemies yet.
But I mean, I hope that they're kind of seeing this and they're kind of getting back into the game because there's a lot of changes. I mean, me and you, we wrote down kind of notes. We'll probably dive into it now and see what's going on.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Straight into
into
it.
it. So
Whilst it's still raw.
yeah, whilst it's still raw. So we obviously know that we'll be inside the Traveler. That's probably the first thing that they mentioned. Us as Guardians, we're going into the Traveler. We kind of acknowledge that the Witness is the strongest person that we've ever faced as a Guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years in the making. The Light and Dark saga coming to an end. I mean, tell me a bit about it. What do you think so far? 10 years. You've been playing Destiny for 10 years.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the end. It's like, for example, when you're playing other games, single player games, you can't wait to get to the end.
Yeah.
But then once you get to the end, I know I'm gonna be devastated because from what I've seen, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It has to be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was quite surprising because compared to the other reveals that Bungie have done for other DLCs, dating back from D1, they haven't really showed much content. They would always hide something behind, but I don't know. It kind of feels like they've showed all their cards. Because they even mentioned the location name.
Yeah.
Being the Pale Heart, I believe.
Oh, listen, this one I had to go through the comments to even find. I couldn't even find it. It took me ages. I think it's Pale Heart.
Pale
I
Heart.
thought it was Pearl Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Pale Heart. If we're wrong, we're wrong.
Yeah. If we're
Let us
wrong, we're
know.
wrong. Let us know, guys. But yeah, for them to kind of showcase the inside of the Traveler, and I think I really like the point. I think one of the people at Bungie mentioned how the Traveler is kind of the perspective of a Guardian, so it's not just necessarily Earth and the Cosmodrome, but it's other locations that we've seen as a Guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Starting off with the tower.
yeah, the tower.
D1
Oh,
tower.
man.
I'm so excited
I'm
about that.
so
I just
excited.
want to see it. And it was green and stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was kind of cool because if we're talking about the tower, not many people got to experience it. There's a lot of D2 players, so I think tapping into that.
Which is crazy. That's crazy to think about. Not many people got to experience that D1 tower, the OG.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think what they're doing is kind of bringing back Destiny in kind of like a full circle. We started there, we're going to end there. In terms of story making, I think it looks good. Diving into other stuff
Yeah.
as well. We've got like a new race finally called the Subjugators, I believe. Talk to me about that. What do you think?
On my notes, I literally wrote tormentor looking things. Because I knew you'd catch the name. I couldn't catch it. Yeah, but what I've seen from them, the stasis, the strand abilities that they have, I'm excited. At least it's different. Usually you just get the original, they're doing solar damage, they're doing void damage. But this one is like 2-in-1. Not gonna lie, the only thing I'm not excited about is the Grandmaster. That's gonna be hell.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be hell.
Trust me. I mean, I was really excited because dating back from D1, when it comes to enemy races, we've got the basics. We've got the Cabal, the Hive, the Vex, the Taken. We have seen stuff like the Scorn, but to be honest with you, the Scorn is just a reskin of the Fallen. And seeing something fresh now, like the Subjugators, we've seen the Tormentors. We faced Rock in the dungeon. Nezarec in the raid that you've done like a billion times.
Yeah, some story missions as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that raid. I've done it so many times. But it's mainly because of conditional, if I'm being honest. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're like a Sherpa in that raid. You've been helping people get it. But
Yeah, except I don't know how to run yet, which is the whole point. But I was in charge of LFG, so I got the runners on point every time.
yeah. I mean, tapping back into the Subjugators, I think it's important that they mentioned how the Witness isn't just a story boss, kind of like the Taken King in D1, because that was it wasn't a letdown, but you saw it coming. But then when you went into the raid, you were facing the Taken version of Oryx, and I think what's good about that is they've saved it for the raid, so we know that it's a huge final stand, and it isn't just a story mission.
Yeah, they did mention how it's going to be like, what's it called? The raid will be against like the Witness, maybe. Well, not with the Witness himself, but similar stuff.
Yeah, like his bosses. I'm pretty sure we've kind of defeated one of them, which is Rock, but he can't just be the only one, right? There has to be other ones.
Yeah, there has to be.
Going on to next, the notes. The
Supers.
Yeah, the supers. I mean, talk to me about the supers. What do you think about the supers?
Listen, I'm a hunter, as we all know. Well, as we know. Hunters are the best once you actually know how to play it. But one thing I'm excited for is something I enjoyed using on a Warlock, and it's what's it called? The Arc Soul.
Ah, yeah.
I can't wait for the new one that I've seen. It's gonna be so good.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't wait. The Warlock solo looks the best, by the way.
You think?
Well, the most fun. Yeah, yeah.
Damn. Well, let me first start by saying Warlock Master Race. Forget Hunters and Titans. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
But yeah, no, I think what you said about the solo Warlock super, I think out of all of them, it looked the most interesting because it was a lot of damage. We have seen abilities that we've used before, such as the Incinerator Snap, but when they
Yeah,
mentioned that the Incinerator Snap does more damage and it kind of leeches out to further enemies, I think that was,
and it's doubling as well.
yeah, it was doubling as
It's
well.
gonna be double the amount of pellets you can say that come out.
I mean, if there ever is like a Nightfall with solo ban, that's the subclass I'm gonna be running straight up.
Yeah, you got the grenade thing that searches.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That looks
That
good.
looks really good.
Yeah.
I mean,
The last one I've seen was the Void one, no? The ones that Titans have, or I think even you guys have. But yeah,
y-
getting a solo version of that's going to be good.
yeah, I think from a solo perspective, getting abilities and fragments, something that's new. It isn't just a reskin. It isn't just a fusion nade that you
Yeah.
throw. It's a completely new nade. It's a new mechanic, and that goes through with the other supers as well. So we saw one of the Titan Void super with the axe.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a bit disappointed about one thing. When they were first showing the cinematics, they showed this axe, and obviously, as you know, I'm a big glaive guy. I love my winter bite. I love my winter bite. Um, so I thought this axe was going to be a new glaive that we're going to use, and then obviously when the super showed up, they showed us that it was a super, not an actual exotic glaive, and I was a bit disappointed. But yeah, that actually looks sick. The fact that you can just throw it and then you can grab it again, teammates can grab it just looks sick. That whole cinematic was amazing.
Yeah, I think I was in the same boat as you when they showed it in the trailer for the first few seconds. I thought it was like an exotic weapon, but then when they kind of introduced it as a super, I thought, yeah, it looks nice. It kind of looks like the quiver from the hunter. The
Yeah, yeah,
that type of quiver shot. But when they said that you can kind of throw the axe, grab it again, and throw it up to 3 times, that sounds like a whole lot of damage.
yeah, exactly. And I'm just thinking about it from a raids perspective right now. It's like you can throw three, and then let's say two of your teammates end up picking it up. I just want to see what the DPS looks
Yeah, I think.
like how much damage each axe will do.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm calling it now. I think he might do more than Blade Barrage. Honestly.
I'll be very disappointed. I love my blade barrage, but yeah, let's hope not, but let's hope so at the same
Yeah.
time.
The thing that stood out more for me than the super, and it might sound dumb, I don't know if you guys are with me on this one, but that grenade that we saw, where you can kind of hold it and make
Yeah,
a shield and then throw it back, that just seems broken and it just seems illegal.
yeah, it's the fact that you're just absorbing, and then whatever you absorb, just you can damage it out. It's gonna be a headache. I can see that one on trials being crazy.
Yeah, and it's another thing that I just thought of right now is, obviously you compare the exotics. When I play my Titan, I always run Armatarium, so I get 2 grenades. So imagine having two of those. You get two of those grenades, you hold it, you throw it.
You're basically having free shields,
Yeah.
almost.
Um,
Yeah, that actually thinking about it, and that, yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I do not nerf it,
yeah.
nerf it
Nerf
already.
Titans straight up.
Yeah,
Finally, we got the Hunter one. So the Hunter Arc Super. I believe it was a knife that you throw, or like a kind of like a similar to the axe.
yeah, it's like a throwing knife. It's like a throwing knife that you just throw. Listen, I've been using Arc Hunter this last season. I haven't gone to it since like 4 or 5 seasons ago, and I was so excited. And the fact that they've brought this one back as well just means I'm gonna be on my Arc grind again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I did see it, I thought, okay, it kind of looks similar to the other Super. But when he mentioned that you can teleport to to like the knife
Yeah,
that you can throw,
blink.
that sounds crazy.
Yeah, that. Imagine the plays. It's like, for example, people have bubbled onto flag
Yeah,
on trials, and then you just throw it, try get near it, and then just start hitting. Hopefully, there's a lot of damage as well.
yeah.
But yeah, that is just the animations are sick. I think I'm excited about that one as
I
well.
think that you just mentioned bubble. I think that kind of it might counter bubble, because imagine if you throw it at the bubble and then you just kind of teleport towards there, and you kind of just
I would hope so.
yeah. I mean,
I would hope so.
cool. That's basically a summary of the supers
It
as
has
well.
also. Let me just bring up one more
Yeah.
thing. You know the super that I'm currently using right now. It's the staff, the arc staff.
Oh yeah.
You basically, I think, got that as a melee now as well. It's similar to that as a melee.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean,
Yeah, I'm excited to see
you're
that.
the arc hunter here. I don't really touch hunter, so
Yeah. Blink all the way.
cool. So another thing they mentioned, we're talking about the weapons now. So I think the first thing
Yeah.
they mentioned was that new exotic fusion, the tessellation, I believe it was called.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
You got the name.
yeah, I tried writing it down, but correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
did not get the name, but I was just excited to see what it does.
It's crazy. It looks like It looks like a pyramid. It's kind of like a pyramid type of gun, and it has
Yeah.
strand and stasis, so it's kind of like a mesh between the two, similar to conditional but with different elements.
Yeah. Conditional bring it first into the game, and it's an eye opener into like the future, what they can bring in, what they can play around with.
Yeah, and then I believe they kind of showed something where that tessellation fusion rifle, you can kind of put your grenade into it.
Yeah, sucks your grenade ability into the weapon and just makes it stronger.
Oh man,
It's like you probably didn't know this because you refused to use the gun, but Aegis Scepter you can absorb your super to make it stronger.
oh wow.
Yeah, as a catalyst. So I think that actually might be a catalyst if I'm being honest. Especially how it's like it's like a seasonal weapon.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the battle pass one, yeah. That's definitely going to be a catalyst.
they did mention quite a lot of catalysts, not particularly in this reveal, but they did mention how, guns are getting catalysts, like the Monte Carlo, the bayonet, that they showed in that
Yeah.
Twitter video. That looks pretty cool.
I was screaming when I saw that.
I think weapons wise,
Glaive and auto rifle, my two favorite guns. Glaives and auto rifles, 2 in 1. I can't
you're
wait.
rocking that hipster setup.
You just reminded me of that as well.
Oh man. Yeah, we got those.
Then they bring in D1 guns.
Yeah, they did.
I'm gonna quickly cut you off and speak about my baby, the one I used a lot in D1. They're finally bringing it back. I cannot wait. Red Death. Oh my! I've missed it so much. The sight. I can't
Damn
wait
straight.
to look through it again.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. Red Death. I had goosebumps when they said it. Goosebumps.
I think I agree with you here. I think Red Death is the gun that people were arguing, saying we don't need Red Death, we got Crimson, but Red Death is just different. It's just that sight. When I aim in Crimson, I can't aim, but when I aim in Red Death, I'm hitting all my shots, like straight up.
Guaranteed. And I'm actually even more happy because I used to use Crimson as well the last few seasons, especially those trios times on Trials.
Yeah.
Crimson was my gun. And then they nerfed it for some reason, or I think they just didn't touch it and they buffed everything else. And it's not viable as much anymore.
Yeah.
So the Red Death, I hope that brings back that fun that I've missed out on.
Yeah.
For a while.
Speaking of Trials, just a quick side note. What was going on in Trials today? We were playing Trials, me and you, and then it was one map to a different map to another map. I thought it was a glitch.
Yeah, I called you an idiot. I thought, I thought you loaded into compet. I was calling you an idiot and a dumb. But yeah, it was a good twist. And I remember actually checking on Twitch to see what like Grenada Jake and stuff were playing. Yeah. And I searched up D2. Everyone was playing Trials and it was different maps. And I was like, people are just probably on compet or something.
Yeah.
I didn't add 2 and 2 together,
I think it's a positive change. It kind of forces teams to have a different play style, depending on the map.
Yeah. It's like, for me especially, it was you get to use your different classes that you've made.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one map I was using stasis, one map I was using trip mine grenades.
Yeah.
And then it was good to have those builds being used for once.
Yeah. Jumping back into the obviously final shape as well. We had other D1 weapons.
Guns.
Yeah, so we had, I believe it was Dragon's Breath as well.
Yeah, I'm skeptical about this one because it wasn't really that good in D1.
Yeah.
It looked amazing. I can't wait to see that shark looking thing again. But yeah, it's probably going to be good Obviously, since they're bringing it back, Bungie always does it. And then the last one, Kovostov, if I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, you're right.
mistaken. How is that how you say it? Yeah. Yeah. I used to use that gun a little, not too much, but yeah, I'm excited to have that one back. It was definitely good.
Yeah, I think with Kvostov, especially being a D1 gun, I think it's good they're kind of bringing back these exotics. People might complain and say, "Oh, why are you bringing back recycled content?" But
Yeah, recycled content.
yeah, but
Ugh.
I think it's kind of good. They mentioned how the exotics aren't going to work in the way D1 has them. They might kind of retune them or refine them and have different exotic perks. And I think that kind of deletes the whole recycle content bit. I mean, yeah, they are the same guns, the same models, and same names, but if they serve a different purpose, then ultimately, it's a different gun.
Yeah, just bring them in with Catalyst. Honestly, Catalyst will just change it and stop this recycled content
Yeah,
stuff that everyone keeps talking about.
yeah, I think you're right. Um, what else? They mentioned. Oh yeah, me and you were laughing about the sidearm rockets. What was that about?
The rocket pistol sidearm, as they said. Yeah, it reminds me of Final Warning a little, although I never really used it. Final Warning, I got it and I never used
Yeah,
it. But this one, I think I might actually have a go at, especially for PvE.
yeah. I mean, if you have like a pistol, especially for close combat, it looks like it's gonna do more damage than a shotgun. Probably more viable as well.
Yeah, the question is, does it use special ammo or like normal ammo? If you know what I mean. I think I've forgotten the name of the sidearm that already does that.
Yeah, I believe it would be special ammo because if it was primary ammo, that would seem broken.
Yeah, the rocket sidearm. Yeah, it looks like it will be special ammo, but still, let's hope it does 80 plus. Might actually be viable.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. We also had one of your kind of because you're an auto rifle guy, and obviously seeing the new auto rifle come back, there's a
Yeah.
support and damage auto rifle. I mean, talk to me about it. What do you think?
Listen, I know what you guys are gonna tell me. You guys are gonna say, "Oh, why don't you use that gun that heals so that you can heal us and shoot?" I don't want to play that supportive role, but if I have to, I have to. I'm excited about this one. It reminds me of the Navigator. We bring it up at the start. It's
Yeah.
like, "Give me a Woven Mail. Give me a Woven Mail. All right, just stand still." Da da da. Yeah, this one it reminds me of Overwatch
Yeah, yeah, it
a little.
does.
You
There's that
know?
new character that came out
Yeah,
that does the same thing.
yeah. It gives me a bit of Overwatch slash Destiny kind of vibes. I can't wait to try it. It's gonna. Well, it sounds fun.
Yeah, I think especially being a warlock, when you have that grenade that kind of heals people, every time I would be so inconsistent with it. I would always miss it. But having a gun now that you kind of just shoot, it reminds me of Lumina now. I wonder what they're going to do with Lumina. Are they going to make Lumina maybe more powerful, or they're going to give it a buff? Because if these all rifles are good, I don't think there's any kind of use to use Lumina anymore.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to lose out on old content, if you know what I mean. So they need to maybe work around that one as well.
Yeah. Uh, that's pretty much all the weapons they brought back. Then they kind of talked about the story. So the whole season, I believe it's called Season of the Witch that they mentioned. Uh,
Yeah,
everything Hive again. So I know some people are probably sitting there going, "Oh God, another Hive, story. How many Hive stories are there?" But this one looks promising because we get to see Eris Morn again, and she kind of becomes Zivu Araf. They kind of clone together.
yeah.
Um, it's similar to the
She comes up with that plan, doesn't she? It's like
yeah.
she needs to become something different in order to get a key. This, and that.
Yeah, it's similar to what we saw this season about I think it's Commander Sloan and Asa coming together, that big water shark dragon thing, whatever you want to call it. And how they mentioned, we need to kind of get the Witch Queen back to kind of help defeat the Witness. We're seeing that live in the fresh, so we're kind of starting from where we left off, which is quite good. And that's available today as well, which is really good.
Yeah, the cinematics were good for it.
Mm.
Listen, I'm not a story guy, but the cinematics today were amazing. Like it just makes me want to play the story.
Yeah, I mean, the cinematics they gave as well, they were the ones that were kind of in game, if that makes sense. There wasn't the cinematic type where
Yeah,
it switches from the game's engine. This is all within the game's engine, which is really good to see.
yeah, yeah. But did you understand what it was all about? It's like, if I'm not mistaken, Seventh has a key or something like that, and then you have to find her ghost.
Yes,
Do you remember much about
yeah.
that?
So I remember during obviously the witch hunt. So obviously it was talking about Savathun and Zivir Wrath. In this season, obviously we understand that Asa has some information about Zivir Wrath and Savathun, and they kind of know the whole witness origin, and they're the only ones that know about the witness origin. No one else knows that, and because of them, we kind of know how the witness is an entire species that's come together, and Savathun has now found a way to kind of get through Zivir Wrath, and that's through Eris Morn becoming, Hive, being Hive and a Guardian together, or previous Guardian, I should say. But it looks promising. I think the story wise, they got the new 2 season activities. I believe it's called Sabato Inspire, and then you got the altar of summoning. Um, all
Yeah.
looks good. You got the deck of whispers as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Deck of Whispers. I mean, it looks good. There's the one, for example, where you can scorch enemies. Each one has like a solar void, and if I'm not mistaken, arc ability.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, hopefully, Strand and Stasis too. What I wrote on my notes actually, it was kind of funny. They showed like a box, and it reminded me of the Call of Duty mystery
Oh
box,
wow, I didn't even see
like
that.
the look of it. Yeah, and then obviously came up with all those stuff that's gonna come in. I'm not really an expert with this kind of stuff. I'm out of my league.
Yeah, I think the deck of whispers is good. Obviously, this season we obviously did the deep dives, the tier 7, tier 5, and tier 2 deep dives. You might have done one actually, but it's just to kind of explain to everyone before you start the actual mission. You get to kind of choose a buff. So there's 2 buffs. It says Asa's gift, so you can kind of choose whether you want to do extra arc damage or if you want to kind of get your grenade back quicker. Um, but seeing the deck of whispers is kind of like that, but on a whole new level. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie. During the deep dives, we needed all that help because they were hard, and I can only imagine how hard this is gonna be.
Yeah, especially if I'm not mistaken, it's a free man as well for one of them.
Yeah, 3-man activity. You're right.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. I mean, we can potentially jump into it today, maybe if they release it. I think they did they mention?
If the servers are on.
Yeah, if the servers are on. I mean, we know what it's like every season when it starts.
Yeah, we know every Tuesday it's the same old.
Moving on. Yeah, the exotic mission
Cor-
rotator. We had some of that as well.
oh yeah,
So
yeah. This one I was actually excited about when they were talking about it. Although we had a bit of leaks that leaked, for example, the Dead Man's Tail being a craftable weapon.
yeah,
But yeah, it's basically a exotic mission rotator. Every week, if I'm not mistaken, there'll be a new craftable exotic. So whatever exotic you get from there will be a new craftable weapon. Lumina might actually come into this conversation.
yeah.
As in, they might make that craftable to make it
They
better,
could.
if you think about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, touching back on the auto
I'll
rifle, how is a
Yeah.
healing thing. Lumina needs to compete now.
Yeah, so they can actually bring that back as a craftable weapon now. The one I actually would love for them to make craftable is Bad Juju.
Yeah,
Bad Juju, it just doesn't get the love that it deserves, man.
yeah. That gun, I remember I used it. I think about 2-3 weeks ago, and it's such a shame because obviously being a D1 gun, it should get a lot of love naturally, but the perk is really underrated. You get your super really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely underrated. What do you think about maybe Soros Regime being on there?
Serious regime as a craftable. Wow, I think obviously yeah, it sounds great, but I would like to see what they kind of do with the
Yeah,
craftable exotics first, because if they're bringing stuff
exactly,
like
yeah.
Dead Man's Tail, they have to change up the perk pool. You know, having a gun like that, if I was able to get outlaw on it to kind of save the reload time, that'd be great. Other stuff as well.
Outlaw, kill clip, stuff like that. That gun can easily be a 2-shot headshot.
Yeah, imagine
They need to be careful with that.
imagine having like Dragonfly on it or something like that. That would be like a straight up gun you want to run in
Oh
PvE.
my god, you and your Doom of Chelsea stages, man.
Yeah. Obviously we've got that. What else do we have?
Yeah, the craftable exotics are definitely something to be excited
Yeah, I
about.
think
100%.
yeah, it's just another content that you can kind of grind during the week, and they're changing it every week now, so that's good.
Yeah. Then they spoke about the PvP new map.
Oh yeah,
Well, we've seen it already.
that is
We've seen it already on Twitter. But it actually does look good. It was a bunch of squares everywhere, but it does look good. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of had to kind of include that because the people complaining on Destiny and not a fan of Destiny right now is probably the PvP players. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they do want more maps, but I think it's kind of good that Bungie did showcase at least a new map. If they turned around and went
yeah,
and said, "Oh, we're bringing back D1 maps or D2 maps," they might still have been annoyed. But I think it's kind of good. They're heading into the right direction. They're showing a new map. If they showed another map,
yeah,
if they do bring another map, I think it'll be good and it would just make everyone happy. I think they should kind of focus on that.
yeah. I mean, we can go into like what Joe Blackburn was talking about. How they're gonna make a strike team
Ah, yeah,
for the PvP. The last strike team that they Bungie brought in was the PvE one, and they bring in craftable weapons, red borders, and all of that, as Joe said. And not gonna lie, I'm excited to see what they can bring in with the strike team for PvP. What they can change. I know he said they're gonna make it. You know how, for example, they have Crucible Labs, they have the normal game modes for
ah, yeah, yeah,
PvP.
yeah.
Apparently, they're gonna make it like a whole big playlist where they bring it all together. So you're gonna have Relic, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have that. You know, I can't wait to play that because then
Yeah,
that refreshes PvP a little as well.
yeah. I think the new gamer they mentioned how you can pick up the relics from Vault of Glass, the synth from the previous seasons. I think it's important to kind of have like a new game mode every once in a while,
Yeah,
just to kind of give it like a refresh.
yeah, definitely. The shield from VOG, I can't wait to use that. I love that. Just when you're
Yeah,
slamming to the ground and stuff. Yeah, that's gonna be fun for Crucible.
you was always kind of the person on the shield. I was the guy that's shooting oracles and struggling.
Yeah, because I didn't really have DPS weapons back then because I wasn't really a PvE guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh
Um,
my.
we got on to the next bit, which is probably one of the most important things, or kind of most exciting things about the new raid, the raid reprisal, which is confirmed Crota's End. I mean, talk to me about it. What do you think?
If I'm gonna give my quick opinion on this, so when they showed Hive like 2 minutes in and stuff, I obviously knew Crota's End was coming back,
Yeah,
and that's where I was disappointed because my favorite raid is Wrath of the Machine from D1,
yeah,
right? But obviously, gonna have to wait until next year, so a bit disappointed in that. But Crota's End, I always keep saying it. I'm excited because I didn't really play it much on D1.
yeah,
Played it like a few times. So that's going to be like a new raid to me personally. Obviously, for other people, it's not going to be the same. They're going to probably question it and say why. But for me, yeah, it's like a new raid. So I'm excited. This season, I'll have 2 new raids. Thinking about it.
yeah. I mean, you got the big boy raid coming up with the Witness, and I think it's kind of good that Crota's End
Yeah,
is coming out because I believe it's coming out September 1st, and the clip they showed, the mechanics seem the same. Everything looks the same, and I think it's good that they kept it the same. But I would like to see a few changes because Crota's End was a raid in D1 that you could steam through in like half an hour, like tops.
yeah. I was gonna say, wasn't it a short raid?
Yeah, it was.
People always complained about that. I remember.
Yeah, and you had some people talking how if they do bring Crota's End back, it shouldn't be a raid. It should be like a dungeon. But I'm kind of happy that they stuck with their guts, and they made it a raid because
Yeah,
the gear in itself in Crota's End in D1, the gear you got was so good. Like the hive bones, even the shader was really good. And I think if they keep it the same type of armor, I think people will be running that raid a lot.
yeah. For me, for example, I'm all about armor. I'm all about looking nice.
Yeah,
So if you're saying what you're saying, if that's what's true, let's say, yeah, I'm excited for that.
nice.
Try a new armor.
Yeah, we're all about armor. I think
Yeah.
next point that we kind of got is the power level. Uh, we were talking about power fixed.
Finally.
Yeah, I mean, you were the one that kind of needed that the most. Talk to
Finally.
me about your stories and why that's so important.
Listen, we have, like every group of friends, those 1 or 2 lazy people that just can't be asked to level up. And they always ruin it. You're planning on doing this raid or grandmaster, and they'll be like, so what are we going to do today? And you can't do it with them, obviously. But now this, hopefully, fingers crossed, just makes my life, your life as well, a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, just to give some context to everyone listening, we have a group of friends that play Destiny, and obviously our friends, we know everyone IRL, so in real life. And I think 3 or 4 of us are always up to date with all the gear and stuff. But we do have 1 or 2
I
friends.
would say it's free.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like a nice split. Free, always light level ahead, like light levels ahead, and then you got free, which are like 1600 in like 2 seasons.
yeah, I mean, I think it's quite good because another thing they mentioned was that the whole power light. I think was it. I don't know. I couldn't quite catch the name. I think it was power fixed, where whoever is the highest light level, their kind of light level gets shared across everyone. So, and
Yeah,
that's in activities like story missions, dungeons, I believe. And I'm happy it's in story missions.
raids.
Was it in raids? I'm not too
I
sure.
think
I think
I think the old raids, yes,
yeah,
but I think the new raids is still like the old system,
yeah,
and I think they even said Nightfall. Like, if, for example, Grandmaster, I don't think there's as much sharing in
yeah.
there, but like the normal Nightfall, I think there is.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point you mentioned Nightfalls because I wrote on my notes here and they've said that although they want everyone to kind of experience content on more easier and get through content without any difficulties, they will be keeping end game stuff to a high level. So nightfalls, raids. I think that's quite good because for me, this season
Yeah,
I've done so many Grandmaster nightfalls. If you look in my vault, I've got about like 20 different loaded questions and like a bunch of different swarms. But I think it's important they kind of keep the end game stuff high because there's a certain level of players that reach that point and they want to see it as a challenge because the game won't be fun if everything's just easy.
yeah. I think this season we definitely tapped into the adept
Yeah.
like guns. Yeah, Grandmasters, especially you were banging it out. I gave up after I couldn't get a box breathing adept. Hung jury. I just gave up.
Oh, guys, quick shout out. I've been using that gun for about 2 months straight, 3 months straight. You need a hung jury with box breathing. Like, you need it because in trials, that gun is a 3-shot headshot. You just aim in for 2 seconds and the damage it does, if you're high light level, I think it does 94. Yeah, 94 to the head, and then 61 after that. So it's pretty much a 3-shot headshot. But yeah, we're getting
Yeah.
sidetracked anyway. But just a quick shout out to that gun.
I mean, I want to quickly mention how if you actually want that gun, you're gonna have to be sat at the back of the map, like
Oh, please.
Mr. Quepto over here. Yeah, shield captain,
Listen,
capped, spending time in the back of the map, box breathing. He's one shot, and then I'm the hunter dog that's always chasing him around.
yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, you need a person like that in your team in trials. But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, a bit off topic, but yeah,
So yeah, so we've got the fire team power. I think that's a good addition to the game, especially because during LFG I noticed because I obviously like doing Kingsfall, as you know. To all the people listening here, I love Kingsfall. I think it's one of the best raids.
that's his raid. He doesn't shut up about it.
Yeah, I think it's good, and I think it's a shame because not many people know how to do the raid, and it does have quite a lot of encounters, and especially being a raid that's a legacy raid at 1600, it is still quite difficult. People are doing the raid and they're even less than 1600. There's some people that's 1580 and they're finding it difficult. And I think being able to kind of share your light level across old raids like that, I think it'll still be good because you can not necessarily carry the people, but do it in a way where it isn't challenging and they can kind of get through the content because so many people through LFG, they've been playing the game for 2-3 years now and they still haven't done raids like that. And I think it's important to kind of get them across the line.
Yeah, definitely. For me, what I like about this is what we love to do. So, for example, when there's a new raid, and let's say we've missed out on the season or so, we come back, we want to do it as a fire team, and we don't want people telling us what to do just so that we get that first day experience that we missed out on. And I feel like with this new fire team thing, we can actually do that as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, because as a group, let's say if one of us is missing, we'd have to get someone through LFG, and then we like to do raids kind of blind, as we like to say. We've been doing it for years.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I think
Because you're a genius if you figure out that specific part of the raid.
I think all of us is just a competition of who figures it out first.
Yeah, and it gets toxic very quickly, though.
Yeah.
So you're dumb.
But yeah, I think moving on, obviously that being a good addition, the fire team power.
I want to actually mention something quickly within it as
Yeah,
well.
sure.
They mentioned something called inclusion with the fire team thing, and it's like it's to help people in need. For example, deaf people and stuff like that. There was like
Yeah,
tags that I
yeah,
remember
yeah, yeah.
seeing
The
that was
player
like
tag, that
deaf
was
and
really
stuff.
good.
Yeah, big W, Bungie, big W.
I think it's important because they've kind of neglected the whole, guided game system. I actually sat there one day, saying, let me see how this works. I was in a guided game session for about an hour, and nothing happened. I couldn't find anyone on the game, and I think this will help
Yeah,
it because the player tag system. There's loads of different player styles on Destiny. There's a Guardian that will be very sweaty in trials, PvP focused, and then you might have someone that's PvE focused. And I think having the player tag system kind of showcases what a player is and what role you might need in the fire team. So yeah, I think it's a huge W from
yeah,
the Bungie side.
yeah, big W.
What have we got next? We've got the
Time reflections.
timeline reflections. Talk to me about it. What do you think about that?
So, two things. I'm excited, number one, again, because it's like you get. So, for example, people that we have friends that have missed out on a lot of
Yeah,
DLC, right? To bring them in quickly, you're just doing big important missions from each story, so that the person understands the story. Especially someone like me, although I'm a banger on the game. Story wise, I don't know anything apart from Mr. Witness. So yeah, I like the fact that they're bringing out big missions from each DLC. Yeah, I think it will help a lot of people understand the game more.
yeah. I think.
But
Oh yeah, okay.
sorry, yeah, I was gonna say, but I know this is what you're gonna bring up as well. I can
Yeah,
tell. It's like we don't want them to get rid of the old content that we've paid for, so we want them to keep the old stories there and have this as an extra, if you know what I mean.
yeah. That was definitely a point I was going to bring up because I think during the whole period where people were kind of complaining about Bungie, that was one of the scenarios where I was kind of teaming up with, not teaming up, but having understanding of the viewpoint because
Yeah, understanding them.
from
Yeah,
from what 2017 to 2023, we've paid not necessarily a cheap amount of money, like quite a bit of expensive money, for
it's like £100 a year if you think about it.
yeah,
The season pass and then the DLC itself, and then some random dungeon key sometimes.
yeah. We can't lie about it. It is a bit of an extortionate price, but the main complaint is that it's not about the price; it's about the content we've paid for. Um, Seeing some of the missions come back, I think, is a good stepping stone because we get to kind of explore the Tangled Shore again, go through and see Cade's Last Stand, even the Red War missions as well. If we can see some of that, that would be great. Um,
Tangled Shore, I missed that place.
yeah, I mean, my only slight complaint would be I think it's a good stepping stone, as I mentioned, but I think if they were to kind of include the entire campaign, because let's say there is a new player on Destiny, they don't necessarily get to play the whole campaign. They will only get to play maybe one or two missions. So it's kind of up to the new people in Destiny. I mean, being a person who's played through the whole campaign,
Yeah,
I don't necessarily mind, but we'd have to kind of get a perspective of a new player and see what they say.
yeah. I mean, if someone actually cares about PVE when they come in, then yeah, they're gonna feel like they've missed out because the story missions are all gone. But again, if someone doesn't care, for example, like me, yeah, those big stories they're actually a good insight into what's actually happened and what's gonna happen, stuff like that. It gets you excited. I might have to do this before I do the final shape story.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think they mentioned it, but obviously with the new story, well, not the new story, the old missions coming back, if we can get some of the loot that's back from there, so like maybe some of the Red War weapons that came out, or even the Forsaken guns, I would love to see those back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And what else do we have? Ah, yes, finally. So this is the main thing. This is the thing that got me excited the most. The new way of storytelling. I mean, they kind of ditched the whole seasonal thing now. Um, and people
yeah.
were complaining about it.
There's episodes now.
Yeah, I mean, talk us about the episodes. What do you think about
I like it. I think it's gonna be very quick. For example, this season was 7 weeks. No, you said
it? Yeah, yeah. This season was 7 weeks. The one
yes.
prior was 11, I believe. But yeah,
yeah, so that's probably what got the community going. Like, well, we're gonna need something new, and this with this whole new episode system, I think that's gonna help it. It's like, so I think they said there was 3 episodes called Echoes, Revenant, and then Heresy
Yeah,
or Heresy
yeah,
or Heresy. Yeah, Heresy, definitely that. There's gonna be 3 acts, they call it, per episode. So basically 3 seasons per
yeah.
episode. And yeah, each act obviously you're gonna get new activities, new weapons, more cinematics. I can't wait for that. I love these cinematics, man.
Yeah, I mean, going back into the obviously the 3 episodes that they mentioned, I think it's quite good because not only is it showcasing the story that's to come, but they kind of mentioned how this isn't just the end of the dark and light saga. Like it is the end of that kind of light and dark, but they're kind of exploring
Yeah,
different pathways to the Destiny future, and they're quite firm on saying that Destiny isn't an IP that we're going to give up on. They're going to continuously support it, and I think that's the most excited thing I've seen because I don't want the game to kind of just end and be like, okay, that's it, Witness is done, or that's it. We want more threats, we want more people to come in, and we want more story. I think that's the most important.
new witness level people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't wait for the next one.
I mean,
Although I haven't played this one yet.
yeah, we haven't even played the campaign. We're already asking for more. But yeah, no, you're right. I think having a having a game that's about space and different species. I think there's always a bigger person out there. We never know.
Yeah, it's like a Marvel thing. So, you're fighting Thanos, and then you're gonna fight this guy and then that guy.
That's the first thing you
Yeah, it's
mentioned
definitely gonna
when we were
happen.
talking about it. You said, "Oh, this is like Marvel now. It's like a whole new timeline."
Yeah, the cinematics are Marvel level, in my opinion. They were so good. They were, yeah, the levels to the game right now is much more than people actually credit to Bungie, if you know what I
No,
mean.
absolutely. I think in terms of the cinematics, they do. We did have a bit of a controversy about the Witness one, that cutscene that came out, how they did kind of rip it off like a creator, like a fan art.
Oh, that art thing.
Yeah. So look, I from my perspective, obviously, I'm not an artist, so I don't know how it feels. But I think what's good is that Bungie did give the person credit, and I'm assuming that they did approach that person to get kind of compensation. I can't confirm that,
If
but Bungie kind of using that art and kind of shouting out that person was kind of a good thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think I read somewhere on Twitter he was not heavily, but he was compensated for like the copyright, you can say.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to that person because that cutscene was really good, and they dropped it in a random week. I think it was like week 4, or week 5.
Yeah, the art itself,
Yeah, it's top tier.
top too.
Uh,
And then
yeah, Karen.
I think the last thing was obviously before the post show. It was the collector's edition.
Oh yeah. The whole tower thing. Talk to me about it. What do you think?
Recently, I've done up my room. All right, a bit off topic, but recently I've done up my room, and I've been looking to get like a Thanos gauntlet, stuff like that. And I think that D1 tower might actually come
No, you're gonna replace it
into my
for the
room.
Thanos thing?
Yeah. No. I think I'm gonna have Thanos on one side and then the tower on one. That tower. Listen, obviously it's a way of them getting money and stuff, but it is a collector's
Yeah.
edition. That's the whole point of it. But yeah, I'm actually thinking into it, like thinking to look into it. I don't know how expensive it would be, but
You won't care. You'll buy it
yeah,
anyway.
the light up version. I'm trying to justify it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that.
I think what's cool is how they mentioned they didn't showcase it, but they mentioned how there's like magnets. You can put the 3 Vanguard people, Ikora, Zavala, and Cade. But I'd have to see it in real life. Like the lights and how it works. If it is something that you kind of can play around with and put the magnets on and the lights are kind of flashing, I think I might go for it.
Yeah, and also it does depend on how big it is.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be like a medium size. It can't be more than like 30 centimeters. Otherwise, I just won't be able to see my TV in my room. But yeah, that does look good for the collectors out there.
Yeah, I mean, collector's edition. Obviously, they have to do a collector's edition. It's the final DLC of the Lightness and Darkness saga. But that pretty much wraps up the whole entire showcase. I mean, we know your thoughts about it. You say it to the people one more time. Do you think it's a win? Do you think it's a L?
Oh no, I love that. It was a big W. It was amazing. I was trying to see it from a negative perspective as well to see what the community would say. but I just didn't have much to say like negative about it. I just loved it. And I think before we finish, we need to speak about Joe Blackburn. That
Yeah,
guy is a goat.
yeah. I think going back to what you said, me myself seeing the showcase, I think it's a huge W. I think if you're looking at the perspective of a person who was giving kind of Bungie a bit of heat, the only slight downside I would say is the kind of PvP section. They did introduce new game modes and they did showcase one map. I think if they were to introduce another map, it'll be
Yeah, just
yeah,
one
one
map.
more map. But coming back to what you said about Joe Blackburn, yeah, him being the GOAT, I think the was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago he kind of came out on Twitter and made like a 15-minute video.
Yeah, yeah, we spoke about it a little as well. It's just the whole PvP strike team. I can't wait for that. I want to see because remember he was explaining like what they really focused on at Bungie was making an all round map. But
Mm.
what he said now he's gonna make a few. A few he didn't specify on like whether it's 2, 3, 4, but it has to be more than two. It has to be a minimum of three. Just maps where it's like it has a different play style to it. And I think that's what everyone's looking for within like the PvP community.
Yeah, I mean, for him to come out because I think prior to that, the Bungie were like, we're not going to do any more weekly blogs. There's too much hate going
Yeah,
on, and all of a sudden he just kind of uploads a Twitter video, and I think it's really great having a game director just come out and speak from the heart. It didn't look like he was reading a script. He was just going through a lot of the stuff and giving,
yeah. I mean, on the video.
yeah, like
Sorry, you
no,
continue.
but like yeah, he was speaking from the heart, and he was just talking about the concerns that Bungie people have, and I think it's kind of good that he mentioned the whole strike team and how PvP isn't a gamer that they're neglecting. They're currently working on it and making it better. So I think combined with his video on Twitter and then with this showcase, I think Bungie is going in a really positive direction. I think all the fans should be happy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think it's just W after W at the moment. So I think the first one was the Joe
Yeah,
Blackburn, him coming out speaking, and then now the showcase. The showcase. It was literally what he was saying as well. It's like, guys, just be patient with us. We know what we're doing.
yeah. I mean, I was quite surprised to be honest with the whole Bungie community. I understand the frustrations, and it is justified to a point. But we have to understand that Bungie has had this IP for about 10 years now. This isn't the only dry state of the game. We've had other dry states of the game, especially in D1.
Yeah,
But I think after this press conference and after the showcase, I think we're in good hands.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, yeah, just to summarize the whole event, we've got new guns, new weapon types, new archetypes, new supers, new seasonal activities, new armor sets, a new raid that's coming out, a
Yeah,
new PvP map, a new PvP game mode. You even got the hive guns as well.
uh, yeah. This is all from the showcase. But then, for example, I was looking on Twitter just before we started, and there was stuff getting leaked. So, for
Oh wow!
example, I've already seen the new Trials set.
Oh damn!
Listen, that hunter looks beautiful,
I need to check it out.
beautiful. Yeah,
I mean, okay. Look, overall, I think it's a huge W. That pretty much wraps it up from our side. I think we've kind of went through everything there is. This podcast style of us is kind of like a different layout. We normally kind of go through your weekly content and do like a weekly podcast explaining what's kind of happening on Destiny this week, going through builds, weekly GMs, nightfalls, strikes. But I think it's fair that we did have to talk about this because it's important for the future of Destiny and what's to come.
an intro of our podcast as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is our first podcast. We'll be doing this every week,
Yeah,
and we kind of want the Destiny community to kind of not just listen in, but also to provide as well. We do have our socials on Instagram and Twitter. At LightBearerPod. If you guys do have any cool content, like any artwork or any builds you want to shout out, let us know. We'll put it on the podcast and we'll give you credit. And we want to see this stuff.
yeah. I mean, soon we're gonna start like competitions. So what I said so that I can copy some people is the best outfits of the week and stuff like that.
Okay. You want to steal people's drip,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I just want to steal people's drip.
But yeah, that pretty much concludes our podcast. Obviously, the streaming services on Spotify. If you have a Spotify, you can listen on there. We'll be aiming to kind of do it on our other platforms as well, but we'll let you know all of those details on kind of Instagram and Twitter. Follow us on there. But that pretty much wraps it up. Was there anything you want to add?
Yeah. Tune in every week, like you said. We'll aim to keep it short as well. Short and snappy. Short and snappy is what we're aiming for, isn't it?
Yeah.
This one, I told you, let's beat the 1 hour mark. It's our first one. There's a lot to talk about. The next week, we'll probably keep you with us for like half an hour.
Yeah, we don't want to.
But obviously, depending on what happens in that week.
Yeah, I think, obviously being the showcase week, we had to kind of stretch it out a little bit, but we don't want to make it so that, you guys are here for longer than you need to. Just something that's kind of brief, something that you kind of skip through as well. If you want to find out what the, modifier is for this week or what the burn is for that week, we got you covered. So tune into us and kind of interact with us as well, and we'll kind of keep you guys updated every single week.
Yeah. Follow our socials. Don't forget, at LightBearerPod.
Yeah, that pretty much covers everything. I think we'll kind of close the podcast here. To anyone that is watching this or is listening to this, I should say, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support as well.
Thank you, guys.
We'll probably catch you guys next week, and we'll talk more about Destiny.
Yeah. See you guys next week.
Peace out. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you guys.
See ya.